I want to talk to you about a pivotal time in U.S. history. It's about Valley Forge. Valley Forge was the winter encampment of the colonial army under the command of George Washington during the American Revolution. The Valley Forge encampment lasted 6 months from December 19th, 1979 to June 19th, 1778. December 19th from 1977 to June 9, 1978. It was third of the 8th winter encampment that Washington and the Continental Army endured during the war. 3 months prior to encampment at Valley Forge in 1777, the Constitutional Congress was forced to flee the revolutionary capital, Philadelphia, ahead of the imminent British attack on the city following Washington's defeat at a battle of Brandywine, a key battle during the British Army's Philadelphia campaign. Unable to defend Philadelphia, Washington led his 1,200-man army into the winter quarters at Valley Forge, located approximately 18 miles, 29 kilometers northeast of Philadelphia. Okay, we're going to scroll down to the encampment, okay? I always thought that the United States military deserved a monument to their humble beginnings, and that's at the encampment, okay? Luckily, other officers' wives journeyed to Valley Forge. Martha Washington. Valley Forge had a high percentage of racial and ethnic diversity. Since Washington's armies comprised individuals from each of 13 states, about 30% of the Continental soldiers at Valley Forge did not speak English as their first language. Many soldiers and commanders hailed from German-speaking communities, as Pennsylvania-born Brigadier General Peter Muhlenberg. Still others spoke Scottish or Irish Gaelic, and a few descended from French-speaking Huguenot and Dutch-speaking communities in New York. Local residents sometimes conversed in Welsh. Several senior officers in the Continental Army originally came from France, Prussia, Poland, Ireland, or Hungary. Although Native Americans and African Americans served in the Continental Army as drovers, wagoners, and laborers, others fought as soldiers, particularly from Rhode Island and Massachusetts. The smallest of the states, Rhode Island, had difficulty meeting recruitment quotas for white men, spurring Brigadier General James Mitchell to suggest enlistment of slaves for his 1st Rhode Island Regiment. Over a 4-month period of 1778, the Rhode Island General Assembly allowed for the recruitment in exchange for enlisting soldiers to the 1st Rhode Island Regiment gained immediate emancipation, and former owners received financial compensation equal to the slaves' market value. They bought freedom for 117 slaves and slave recruits before the law allowing them to do so was repealed. But these free African American soldiers continued to enlist in the military. By January 1778, nearly 10% of Washington's effective force consisted of African American troops. Okay, so people keep complaining about DEI. Well, that's where DEI got the origins in this country. Okay, and some people, when I was young, used to claim to be part of their families, the original 3%ers. And I used to accuse them of stolen valor. That was before stolen valor was the thing. Okay, but I was just thought I'd give you a brief history on the pros and cons of DEI. Here you got the pros of DEI and the con about who the 3% were. Okay, I'm just about history and about the law. And as far as emancipation, you see emancipation was offered to the slaves during the Revolution because they needed more soldiers to fight against the British. And actually, the British were the first to offer emancipation to the slaves, to their slaves, because it was cheaper than bringing more troops over from other positions in the UK where they were defending, that England-only, Christian-only thing. Originally, that was a WASP thing, white Anglo-Saxons, Protestants from the UK. That's when the UK used to run the colonies. And when they became the states, they established, freedom of speech, because the Continental Army was a multi-language army. But when Lincoln wrote the Gettysburg Address, he was referring to what was offered in the very beginning: emancipation, the rule of law, to fulfill our nation's creed, of we the people. Every man is endowed by their Creator with certain inalienable rights. Among these are life, liberty, and pursuit of happiness. And these are the people that earned it for you, folks. Okay, you can get into it in detail yourself. I just thought I'd give you just a brief explanation where DEI started in this country. People are really on an anti-immigrant move, but so were the British. And they don't even do that anymore. We still have people in this country hanging on to the WASP ideology, and it came from the UK, and the UK doesn't even do that. No, I'm all about the Constitution, and that part where it says every man is created equal and endowed by their Creator with certain inalienable rights. Among these are life, liberty, and pursuit of happiness. That hasn't happened in my lifetime. As a man, I've been waiting a lifetime. And as a country, that was never enforced. So in a nation of laws, since the beginning, we've been living under the color of law. To avoid emancipation, so many laws are written under the color of a law, which is clearly a conspiracy to deprive rights under the color of law. Somebody was asking me, where did you get this ideology, conspiracy to deprive rights under the color of law? It's not an ideology, it's a fact. It's a fact. Okay, so my apologies.